I woke to suffocating darkness. The air around me was thick, stale, heavy, every breath a struggle. My chest tightened as if a vice was closing around my ribs, squeezing the life from me. It was then I realized I was trapped, enclosed in a wooden box. I tried to scream, but my throat was dry, my voice a raspy whisper that barely filled the small space. The realization struck me like a hammer. I was buried alive. Panic surged through my veins, the blood pounding in my ears. My head throbbed with a pain so intense it blurred my vision, though there was nothing to see but the pitch-black void. My fingers brushed against the rough wood of the coffin, trembling as they traced the grain of the planks. Each movement felt sluggish, as though the very air itself resisted my attempts to escape. I clawed at the lid above me, splinters embedding in my fingertips. The pain was distant, overshadowed by the sheer terror of my situation. My thoughts were a jumbled mess, fragments of memories that refused to come together. I was someone important, someone who had faced danger before, but who? My breath came in ragged gasps, the limited air growing thinner by the second. I could feel the coffin pressing in on me, the weight of the earth above me crushing down. My head was splitting with pain, but I forced myself to concentrate, to remember. Who was I? What had brought me to this terrible fate? Then, like a lantern flickering to life in a dark room, the memories began to return. I was William Granger, sheriff of this God-forsaken stretch of Wyoming. I had taken the badge and gun with a purpose, to escape the ghosts of my past, to find something in the wide-open plains that could bring me peace. I remembered the wide skies and endless prairies, the wind whipping through the tall grass, the sense of freedom that had drawn me out west. I had come here to make a difference, to uphold the law in a place where lawlessness reigned. But the West was no place for peace. The land was harsh, the people harder. Justice was a fleeting concept, often lost in the face of survival. And there were men like those who had put me in this box, who thrived in the chaos. The memory of the ambush slammed into me, sudden and vivid. I had been riding through the canyon, tracking a gang of outlaws who had terrorized the nearby town. Their leader, a vicious man named Amos Barker, had been a thorn in my side for months. He was a murderer, a thief, and worse. I had sworn to bring him to justice, but they had been waiting for me. I saw it now, how they had set the trap, the flash of gunfire, the stampede of horses, the cruel laughter as they surrounded me. I fought back, of course, my hand steady on my revolver, my aim true. But there were too many of them. I felt the blows as they rained down on me, felt the sharp crack of a rifle butt against my skull. Then nothing, until now. The realization hit me like a cold splash of water. They had left me for dead. Beaten and broken, they must have thought I had breathed my last. But instead of leaving my body for the vultures, they had buried me, an insult added to the injury. The throbbing in my head grew worse, the pain almost unbearable, but I forced myself to think, to focus. I was still alive, and that meant I still had a chance. I began to pound against the lid with renewed vigor, every blow sending a jolt of pain through my arms. My nails dug into the wood, pulling at the planks, prying them loose. I could feel the dirt starting to trickle through the cracks, the earth above me shifting as I struggled. The effort was exhausting, each breath more labored than the last. I could feel the darkness closing in, the edges of my vision fading, but I couldn't give up. Not now. The air was almost gone, each breath shallow, my lungs burning. The pain in my head was a relentless drumbeat, but I fought through it. I had to get out. I had to live. The thought of Barker and his gang riding free, of the townspeople left unprotected, drove me on. I wasn't just fighting for my life. I was fighting for justice for all those who had suffered at their hands. With one last surge of strength, I forced my hands through the lid, the wood splintering under the pressure. Dirt poured in, filling the coffin, covering my face. I thrashed, digging upward, the earth pressing down on me, suffocating me. But I kept going, clawing my way toward the surface. The weight of the dirt was immense, but my will was stronger. I don't know how long I fought my way through the earth. It felt like hours, days, an eternity. My limbs were numb, my mind a haze of pain and desperation. But then, just as my strength was about to give out, I felt a change. The earth above me grew lighter, the pressure easing. My hand broke through to the surface, the cool night air brushing against my fingers. With a final, desperate effort, I pulled myself up, gasping for breath, as I broke free from the grave. The night sky stretched above me, a sea of stars that seemed impossibly bright after the darkness of the coffin. I collapsed onto the ground, my body trembling, my lungs heaving as I gulped in the fresh air. I lay there for a long moment, staring up at the heavens, the enormity of what had just happened washing over me. I had been buried alive, left for dead by the very men I had sworn to bring to justice. But I had survived. Somehow I had clawed my way back from the brink. Slowly I pushed myself up, my body protesting every movement. My clothes were torn, my skin scratched and bruised, but I was alive. I stood on shaky legs, looking out over the desolate landscape. In the distance, I could see the faint glow of a campfire. Barker's camp, no doubt. They thought they had rid themselves of me, that I was just another victim in their trail of blood and destruction. They were wrong. I felt a cold fury settle in my chest, the fear and panic of the coffin replaced by a burning desire for revenge. I had been to hell and back, and now it was time to send Barker and his men there in my place. I started walking, each step fueled by a grim determination. The night was silent around me, the only sound the crunch of my boots on the dry earth. I could feel the weight of my revolver at my side, the metal cool against my hip. I would make them pay, every last one of them. They would learn that some men, no matter how deep you bury them, can't be kept down. As I neared the camp, the glow of the fire growing brighter, I allowed myself a small, grim smile. William Granger, sheriff of this harsh and unforgiving land, was still alive, and he was coming for them. The West was no place for peace, but there would be justice. There would be blood,